The tray shook in Nora's hands as she stepped into the smoke-filled room, but she did not stop walking. Rich men in fine coats sat around the table, laughing loud, tapping their cigars, not even turning their heads to look at her. She set the tea down slow and careful, her rough fingers steady despite the fear in her chest. One man knocked his cup with his elbow. It fell and broke on the floor with a sharp crack. The room went quiet for a second. Every eye turned toward Nora, waiting to see her flinch, waiting to see her cry. She did not cry. She bent down, picked up the broken pieces with bare hands, and said nothing at all. Blood touched her finger from a sharp edge, but her face stayed calm. The men stared. Then one of them laughed loud and mean. "Look at her," he said. "Not even a word. She's only a maid. Girls like her don't feel much of anything." The others laughed too, slapping the table, enjoying the joke at her expense. Nora stood up straight. She looked at the broken cup in her palm, then set it gently on her tray, her jaw tight but her eyes dry. She turned and walked away without a single word back, her steps steady on the wood floor, her back straight as a fence post. Outside the door, a stranger sat on a big black horse, watching through the open window. He had heard the laughter. He had seen the girl's silence. Something about the way she held her head, proud even after being mocked, struck him hard in the chest. He climbed down from his horse slowly, dust rising around his boots, and stepped toward the porch. Inside, Mr. Whitfield waved a hand toward the door. "That's just the maid," he said. "Pay her no mind." But the stranger already had. Jack Coleman stood in the doorway of the Whitfield house, hat in hand, his boots covered in dust from the long ride. He had not come to talk about cattle. He had not come to talk about land. Mrs. Whitfield frowned when he asked for Nora. "Nora," she said, her voice sharp with surprise, "why would a man like you want to see the maid?" "Just bring her," Jack said. His voice was calm but firm as stone. Nora's hands trembled as she walked into the room. She thought she had done something wrong. She thought she would be scolded, maybe fired. She kept her eyes down low, waiting for harsh words, bracing herself the way she always did. But Jack's voice was soft. "Nora," he said, "will you sit with me?" The room fell silent. Mrs. Whitfield's mouth dropped open. The other rich men stopped talking mid-sentence and stared, forks frozen halfway to their mouths. A maid, asked to sit beside the richest cowboy in the territory. No one in Red Hollow had ever seen such a thing. Nora sat down slowly, her heart pounding so loud she feared everyone could hear it. Jack looked straight into her eyes. "I have watched you," he said. "I know this town looks past you. I know they laugh and call you nothing. But I see a woman with a strong heart, a woman who works hard and never complains." Then he said the words that shocked the whole room. "Nora, I want you to marry me." A teacup slipped from Mrs. Whitfield's fingers and shattered on the floor. No one moved to pick it up. Every eye in the room stayed locked on Jack and Nora. Nora could not breathe. Was this a cruel joke? She searched his face for laughter, for meanness the kind rich men often showed poor girls like her. She found none, only honesty. "Why," she whispered, "I am only a maid." Jack shook his head slowly. "You are not only anything, Nora, you are strong, and I want a wife with a real heart, not one born into riches." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time someone truly saw her. Whispers followed Nora everywhere she walked now. At the market, women turned their backs when she passed. She tricked him, one hissed to another, not even bothering to lower her voice. Nora kept her eyes on the ground and walked faster, her basket heavy against her arm, her heart heavier still. Mrs. Whitfield grew colder every day. "You think a fancy dress makes you one of us," she snapped one morning, her voice like a slap. "Jack will see the truth soon. He will throw you away like old trash." Nora said nothing back. She only nodded and kept scrubbing the floor, though her hands shook the whole time. Then came the lie. Tom Bragg, a jealous man who wanted the Whitfield fortune for himself, told everyone in town that Nora had stolen money from the house. It was not true, not one word of it, but the story spread through Red Hollow faster than fire through dry grass. Shopkeepers refused to serve her. The old preacher looked at her with narrow, suspicious eyes. Children pointed and whispered as she walked by. That evening, Nora sat alone by the well behind the house, crying quiet tears into her rough hands. Jack found her there, dust still on his coat from riding hard into town. "Nora, what is wrong?" he asked, kneeling beside her. "Everyone hates me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "They say I am not good enough. Maybe you should forget about me. Maybe this is too hard." Jack took her hands in his, gentle but firm. "Let them talk, Nora. Their words mean nothing to me." But Nora could not shake her fear. She feared the lie would reach Jack's ears and poison his heart too, that he would believe it like everyone else had. She could not bear to watch him suffer because of her. That night she took a piece of paper and wrote him a short letter, her hand trembling with every word. She said she could not marry him. She said she was leaving Red Hollow forever. She packed her few belongings into an old bag, tears falling onto the worn cloth, and slipped quietly out the door before the sun rose. The letter shook in Jack's hands as he read it by the dying light. His chest went tight with fear. Nora would never leave without a real reason. He grabbed his hat and ran for his horse, riding hard into town, dust flying behind him like smoke. He found Tom Bragg at the saloon, laughing loud with his friends. "Got rid of the Maid good," Tom bragged, slapping the bar. Jack froze in the doorway, his blood turning cold. He stepped forward and the whole room went silent. "Say that again," Jack said, his voice low and hard as iron. "Tell them all what you just told your friends." Tom's face went pale. He tried to laugh it away, but Jack would not move. "Tell the truth, Tom, or every man in this territory will know what kind of coward you are." Shaking, Tom confessed. He had made up the lie about Nora stealing money. He did it out of jealousy, because he wanted the Whitfield fortune for himself. Gasps filled the saloon. Word of his confession spread through Red Hollow faster than the lie ever had. Jack did not wait to celebrate. He ran outside, jumped onto his horse, and rode hard toward the edge of town, chasing the last light of the setting sun. He found Nora walking alone on the dusty road, her small bag over her shoulder, tears wet on her cheeks. She turned, startled at the sound of hooves. "Jack, you should not have come." "Tom lied," Jack said, jumping down and running to her. "He confessed in front of everyone. You did nothing wrong, nothing at all." Relief flooded through Nora, mixing with the pain of the past days. But everyone believed him. "Not anymore," Jack said softly, wiping her tears away. "And even if they did, I would not care. I only need you to say yes." Nora looked into his honest eyes, the fear finally gone from her heart. "Yes," she whispered, "I will marry you." 2 weeks later, under a wide golden sky, Nora wore a simple white dress and became the most beautiful bride Red Hollow had ever seen. The men who once laughed stood silent, ashamed, as Jack took her hand forever.